What's going on, wrestling family? Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about Survivor Series War Games. And if I sound a little off, if I sound a little weird, it's because you guys know that I was actually at the event, and when CM Punk came out, that crowd was so loud. That crowd was so deafening. I couldn't even hear the person next to me say anything at all. All you heard was, ah. And like, it was like you couldn't breathe in there because it was so loud. And even till now, my left ear is still ringing from the crowd noise from when CM Punk came out, and my right ear still feels kind of clogged. And you know, I was cheering too, so I'm not gonna lie. So my voice is kind of a little bit different right now. Hopefully it's getting better. But it was a crazy moment. I can't complain. It was an experience. But I want to talk about the two main things that everybody's talking about first, and then I'll get into the other matches, and that's the men's War Games match and CM Punk's return, and talking about Seth Rollins' reaction to it. Is this reaction at work, or is this kayfabe? We'll talk about it in a little bit, but before we get into that, hit the subscribe button and let's get into this. So first and foremost, I want to talk about the match itself. The match was a lot of fun. You guys already know I love these type of matches. No disqualifications. Let's put weapons in there. It was great spots that happened in there as well. One of the spots when Randy Orton came back and he looked at Jey Uso and he kind of gave him one of these to let him know, hey man, just let you know it can happen at any time, but right now we got to handle business. I thought that was a great spot. Very, very interesting. Some great moments when they all did the DDTs off of the turnbuckles, so each of their opponents on Judgment Day. I thought that was a great spot as well. So many great moments on there. So many great moments. One of the main things that I saw, or we all saw last night, when Rhea Ripley came out, and I was like, oh, no, they're not doing this. I know she's not going to be the fifth member, and she's going to come in here and try to fight these guys. There's no way that she's pulling this off. But as we all saw, she came out with the briefcase and was trying to cash it in. And then eventually Randy Orton came out, and I marked out. I was like, yo, I already knew he was going to be there, but I was just happy. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. And to see him come out, and he looked great. He's like yoked up. He didn't look like he aged a bit. He looked like he kept himself in shape. And again, like I said, when he had that moment with Jey Uso in the ring, I thought that was great. Now, what I thought was when he came out, I was like, Rhea Ripley, you better run. Because when it comes to Randy Orton, he can RKO anybody. He don't care if it's 1995. He don't care if it's 2023. He don't care if it's 19. The woman is going to get the RKO too if he sees you and he feels that it is fit to give you RKO. So run, Rhea, run. Okay. So I thought that was a great moment. But then eventually the match was over, and, you know, everybody was like, all right, well, that was it. Because I thought that Randy Orton was going to at least RKO Jey Uso at the end, because they were in the ring a little bit too long. And I thought that was a little suspicious. I'm like, what's going on? You know, they're cheering a little bit too long. Something's going to happen. And then all of a sudden, my friend next to me was like, I don't know what's going on. I got goosebumps. There's something going on. I was like, I don't know. I feel like something's about to happen. And I was trying to trick my mind to believe that it was going to be the RKO. It definitely wasn't going to be CM Punk. And before I get into that part, I want to apologize to all the people that I told CM Punk was not going to be there. And, you know, it's hard to believe that's going to happen, because so many years of people saying that he was going to show up and dirt sheets lying about, you know, rumors and stuff like that. It's hard to believe it. It's hard to believe it. And then eventually we heard the record scratch. And then we saw the music playing. Even when the music was playing, even when I saw his logo on the screen, I didn't believe it. I thought they were playing some type of joke. I thought this was something like, you know, Paul Heyman had cooked up again. And even though that didn't make sense, my mind just went to everything else but the possibility that CM Punk had actually returned. And I'm looking, and you guys can see in this video, I'm looking, no one believes it. They're waiting for his body to actually come out of the entrance. And eventually when he came out, the crowd noise went from here to all the way up here. There was this guy in front of me. His hands were shaking because he was so excited. Check this out. And boy, I was like, no way, because I almost missed this Survivor Series. I keep telling my friend, I'm like, we could have missed this, because we were supposed to go to the SmackDown around that time, but we missed it because I had to go to a wedding. So we were like, all right, we'll just go to Survivor Series instead, because it was like either or, you know, because we may not have had time for that. But we went to Survivor Series, and I'm so glad that I was there. And CM Punk is one of my favorite wrestlers. I don't know how this is going to work out as far as him being a part of WWE. I hope that they got some type of contract where there's like zero tolerance or something like that. But man, I've never been to an event where somebody returned and was so shocking, and I can't believe it finally happened. It still feels surreal at this moment, right? Regardless of how you feel about this guy, the fact that Triple H pulled it off is, you know, a check on, like, it's like a jewel on his crown so far is running, as far as running WWE at this moment. This is ridiculous. I'm so interested to see where this is going to go, and how this is going to happen. What is he going to say on Raw? What is he going to say on SmackDown? How is the locker room going to react? Who knew beforehand? I don't know, but I cannot wait to know how this happened. Now, eventually we saw Seth that man blew a head gasket, man. He got so much trauma from CM Punk. It's not even funny. After CM Punk came out, when I saw Seth Rollins, I couldn't even focus on nothing else. Everybody else in the ring looked kind of shocked, except for Randy. Obviously, Randy's not shocked by anything. But when it came to Seth Rollins, he looked pissed. Like, he wanted to fight him. It was like an old episode of Jerry Springer. Like, everybody was just trying to hold him back. You had Corey Graves out there trying to help him. You had referees, you had security helping him out. And a lot of people asked the question, is this kayfabe or is this shoot? Is he really this upset about CM Punk being there? Because we already know that they have history. When it comes to Seth Rollins and him having a problem with somebody, it runs deep. It doesn't matter if we're talking about him, if we're talking about Cody Rhodes, because remember, they said that they almost fought when Cody Rhodes got there. So Seth Rollins' hatred runs deep, and especially for CM Punk and calling him a cancer and things like that. And people are wondering, like, is this real or not? Now, for me, I personally feel like that Seth does kind of feel this way, but at the same time, I think the way that he reacted to it was a work. I don't think it was absolutely 100% true, because I believe that Seth Rollins is a professional, right? I understand that he's had back and forth on Twitter. He had a reaction with the fan at the end of his Hell in a Cell match against The Fiend when they went back and forth. But he's been in WWE so long, you don't really hear that much about him doing anything unless he's trying to defend the company. And I think around that time that he got into it with that fan, he was probably upset because he had pride of the company. It had nothing to do with something seriously, just personal. And I know him and Cody almost had a fight and things like that, but we never saw it. We never saw it out in person. We never saw it during the show. So for one, I think Seth is too professional for this to be something that's real. But outside of that, I don't think that Triple H would hire somebody knowing that this would piss off Seth Rollins this much and affect people in the locker room this much. Now, if this was Vince McMahon, this was a year or two ago, or any time that Vince was over WWE, yeah, sure, then that would make all the sense in the world, because Vince don't care. He just cares about money. And obviously with this situation, Triple H said in the press conference that it's important to grab somebody like CM Punk because he gets people talking and he can't ignore that. But I think that Triple H is more respectable, more noble than Vince McMahon, to the point where he's not going to try to ruin the entire locker room to bring somebody in there just for money. I think Triple H is way beyond that. So I think they're going to use this as a work, to use this, to kind of start a storyline, to probably start a thing where, like Seth Rollins and they did with him and Matt Riddle, when they had that whole feud, when they had that split screen. I think that they're going to try to do this whole, not exactly the split screen, but a few between the two, where they take something from real life and kind of apply it to a fake storyline. I'm sure Triple H brought him in and had him like make amends with people and told him like, hey, if you screw up, you up out of here. Like, I feel like Triple H is a lot more noble than allowed that to happen. So anyways, beyond that point, let's just talk about these other matches really, really quick. And this is not in any specific order. The match between Dragon Lee and Santos Escobar, I thought it was a really good match. Really, really, really good match. I watched Dragon Lee when he was in AAA. I remember Santos Escobar early in his career. So I figured, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a really good luchador style match. And it really was good. Obviously Santos had most of the offense. He's the heel. And I was hoping that he would destroy Dragon Lee and kind of injure him and kind of go through LWO one by one and just destroy them one by one, like he did Carlito from the beginning. But I don't know if they're going to go that route. But maybe he'll just beat them one by one in the ring and eventually circle back around to Rey Mysterio. But overall, I thought it was a really good match. Some pretty good spots in there. Man, my voice still messed up from last night. Pause. But I thought it was a really good match. So, and the other match that we had was between Gunther and The Miz. One thing that was really surprised about this match was that there was no interference by Imperium. This was a clean finish, and I didn't think that Gunther would win by submission. That was the other part that was really shocking to me. And I already kind of knew, since there was no interference, they wanted The Miz to lose clean, so they don't even have to revisit this entire thing. So they're putting a cap on this whole feud. But I thought it was great to see The Miz get out there. He had a fair shot. He looked pretty serious. He did a pretty good job. But I don't think anyone believed that he was actually going to win this match. The match after that or the match that we had later on, was Rhea Ripley versus Zoe Stark. Another match where the champion, like Rhea Ripley, was just dominant in this match. Zoe Stark showed a lot of athleticism to a lot of people who didn't know that. I told people that she's very athletic. She just hasn't showcased it. And I think there's some spots in here that absolutely showed that. So I was happy for her to get her step in the right direction. It's not her time to at least get a championship belt yet. Maybe give her a year and she'll definitely be fitting. But I mean, if they kind of work on her promo skills a little bit more, then I think she'll be like a lot better and better, you know, prepared to win the championship in about a year. And I love the fact that she gives me back that black and gold era NXT where everybody was wearing all black and they had metal theme songs and you know, her theme kind of remind me of Aleister Black when he was in WWE, but she kind of reminds me of that era. So I like that personality on her, and I can't wait to see what they do with her next. Now it's interesting because I don't know who the person that will take the belt off of Rhea Ripley is at this point. I mean, she's so dominant. She's pretty much beat everybody. I don't know if it's going to be Jade Cargill. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know if they're going to pull up Tiffany Stratton at one point and have her take the belt off of her. I honestly don't know what they're going to do next. I feel like they're going to, whoever it is, they're going to feed Nia Jax to her. They're probably going to feed Xia Li to her. Like it's just going to be a lot of feeding at this point, probably up until WrestleMania. And the final match I want to talk about is the women's War Games match, which I thought was a fantastic match. Every year these women show out. The last War Game match that I saw did involve Bianca Belair and Io Sky, and you kind of know what you're going to get from these ladies. Some crazy spots. Io Sky is going to jump off the top of something, and the bet that me and my friend had is like, who's going to do the moonsault? Charlotte Flair, Io Sky off the top of the cage, or is it going to be Bianca Belair? Ended up being Charlotte Flair, as we all saw. But I saw that Becky got busted open a little bit. I was like, I'm glad that she's okay. But overall, I thought it was a good match. I always had more to say. My throat hurt. My ears are ringing. I can't think because the ringing is irritating me. But at the end of the day, it's a mark of a good time. So for me, guys, I was absolutely happy with everything that happened at War Games last night. Fantastic job. Both times that I went to War Games so far, they've done something they haven't done before. The CM Punk return this year, 2019, NXT versus SmackDown versus Raw. So far, it's 2 for 2 for me, man. I'm loving this. I'm going to have to go to every War Games possible, I guess. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. How did you guys feel about the matches? What was your favorite? What was your least favorite? How do you feel about the CM Punk situation? And how do you feel about Seth Rollins' reaction to the video? Let's talk down in the comments. Thank you guys so much. Salute. Peace. Have a good day.